Early Thursday morning, the Texas State Senate passed a bill, Senate Bill 7, that severely limits the voting rights of citizens in Texas. Specifically, here's what the piece of legislation does. It would limit extended early voting hours, prohibit drive-thru voting, and make it illegal for local election officials to proactively send applications to vote by mail to voters, even if they qualify. So that last part, think about that again. This isn't just sending them ballots. This is sending them applications to vote by mail, saying you qualify to vote by mail. Would you like to do it? Here's your application. Now that would be illegal under this Senate bill passed by a pretty strong Republican majority in that Texas State Senate. This piece of legislation now heads over to the Texas State House, also controlled by Republicans. This is a piece of legislation that Republican Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has said is a priority for Texas, indicating that the governor is in fact going to sign it when the House passes it, which unfortunately means there's nothing we can do. That's a horrible thing to say. And I know I like to give people hope. I like to have a little bit of optimism when I can. But honestly, at this point, there's nothing we can do until after the piece of legislation is passed. At that point, lawsuits can be filed. You know, we could try to fight it in court, much like what's happening in Georgia, what's about to happen in Florida as well. But the overall theme is the same. These are Republicans who control these states, and they're terrified of what's happening inside of their states. I think Florida actually has the least to be worried about because their Republican majority seems to be getting stronger, not weaker. But in Texas, it's getting weaker. Shifting demographics. You know, you are seeing Democrats making huge gains in Texas. Texas had the potential to flip blue sometime in the coming years. Democrats making huge strides there, much like they had in Georgia. And so Republicans, still with the control of the state governments, came forward and they said, we're going to stop this. We're going to do whatever we have to do to make sure we keep winning elections because that's the only thing on the planet that matters. And the kicker is this. If you wanted to keep winning elections, all you had to do was not be jackasses. It's amazing to think that that's literally it. All you had to do was start helping your constituents, start ruling for them instead of massive corporations. And they couldn't even do that. They looked at that option and they said, well, to hell with that. We don't know how to actually pass good laws. We don't know how to actually govern. We know how to give tax breaks to corporations and we know how to deregulate, sure. But doing stuff for people, well, we don't even know what that means. How about we just make it to where you can't vote? That'll keep us in power. I mean, that is literally the thinking of Republicans, not just in Texas or Georgia or Florida, but all over the country. Because that's all they have left. They have no new ideas. They have no actual platform to run on. They have nothing to offer the American public. So they say, well, instead of coming up with a plan, what if we just make it to where they can't vote? Ladies and gentlemen, that is your Republican Party of 2021. And it's actually been your Republican Party for several decades now.